We're here with Dr. James A. Anderson, Chancellor of Fayetteville State University. Welcome.
Welcome. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and congratulations to Fayetteville State University on being one of the 30 UNCF Career Pathways Initiative Planning grantees.
Thank you. We look forward to a successful future in partnership.
Wonderful. Something that strikes me is your theme. The university's theme is from legacy to a 21st century world-class university of choice.
Yes.
And I like that. Can you tell me a little bit more about the university's theme and how UNCF's Career Pathways Initiative fits into that theme?
Well, when I came to Fayetteville State 8 years ago, I recognized that there was a proud historical legacy, but I didn't think the university was really thinking enough about its future and the connection between that legacy and its future. And so we kind of developed a hashtag to reflect that notion that we're not going to forget where we came from, we're not going to forget what we built upon, but we clearly are going to point to the future in terms of our direction. And we need as many resourceful opportunities to do that, and this grant is one of those resourceful opportunities.
What do you envision as the impact of the Career Pathways Initiative Planning Grant for students at Fayetteville State University?
I think two major things I'd like to see. One, I'd like to see students take more responsibility for their own future and to do it in a holistic way, not just in terms of defining a career pathway, but linking that new definition of a career pathway to who I am as a person, what my dreams are, what my values are, what my family history is, and to do it holistically. And I think there's more investment by a student when you do it holistically. The second key part of this is there must be faculty involvement. Not a single grant at any institution involved will work unless the faculty take their responsibility in this to make sure that they link what they do in the classroom, what they do in terms of research, what they do in terms of other kinds of work out of the classroom. They have to link it to this dream that students have, this holistic dream.
And I guess we speak of holistic dreams for students. What are some of the challenges that today's student, the 21st century HBCU student, what are some of the challenges that they face in gaining meaningful employment upon graduation?
Well, we institutions need to do a better job of explaining varied career options that could be associated with a single major. Let me give you one example. Let's take the concept of forensics.
Right.
Forensics now has been attached to forensic accounting, forensic biology, forensics in terms of cybersecurity and things like that. Because forensics refers to this notion of investigating at a level of depth. So traditional accounting isn't as marketable now as forensic accounting. Okay? Forensic biology, for example, my institution is ranked number 2 in the country in forensic biology because we worked at that and we planned that so it would be a marketable area for students. So we need as institutions to do a better job of making our case for these expanding career options rather than the narrow ones we push students into for so long.
And you shared a lot of great insights in some of the sessions yesterday. And I guess, I know once we use the footage, everyone won't have had a chance to see, some of the intimate details that were shared. But can you expand a little bit on some of the wisdom you were passing along to the younger generation? I believe the faculty, there were some words that you were, imparting upon them, steps that they should take and working the plan, budgeting accordingly, having the data to...
Well, one thing I stressed to them was they need, at a personal level, to have a self-definition of leadership. What leadership? Leadership as it promotes transformation, leadership as it promotes change, leadership as you fight tough political battles to get these things done. You have to have both a personal definition of leadership and an organizational definition. And I was stressing to them, we need to work on that because many of the questions that were presented yesterday, those questions rise and fall on a campus based on the campus leadership. Okay? And I said to them, I said, look, I sit on SACS, the accrediting body, and when we visit campuses, especially HBCUs, when I look at how well or how poorly they're doing, when I look at why they go on warning or probation, at the end of the day, it's leadership.
Right, right.
And so I wanted them to start thinking at a younger age about what their leadership model is. If they come to interview with me for a job, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm waiting to hear your leadership model. Okay? I don't want to hear techniques that another school uses. I want to hear from you how you as a young leader can transform my institution.
I like that, and I think that's important to, to empower
Right.
leaders that are coming behind us.
Right.
Certainly, so for the faculty that would be involved in, engaging with the students, but for the students themselves, can you just tell us briefly, with the implementation of the UNCF Career Pathways Initiative, and with other existing programs that you have at Fayetteville State University, where do you envision Fayetteville State University 7 to 10 years from now, particularly for students who are, graduating, what those outcomes will be?
Sure. I think one of the ways we'll be different from a lot of institutions is we put more emphasis on global competitiveness and global readiness in the part of our students. I want our students to be marketable, not just to some domestic employees. I want them to be marketable to the global corporations and the global employees. I just got back from almost 4 weeks in China, where we partner with 7 institutions, but we're talking about how our students can go to China and become better prepped in the global marketplace, and their students come to us and become better prepped in the global marketplace. That's something I'm not hearing enough about at this conference, that I think we need to say more about, because if we're honestly saying we want to give students more options, then if you don't introduce them to the global marketplace, you're limiting their options. So I want to hear more about that.
Got it. Any other reflections that you would like to share regarding what you've learned so far, or anything that your university plans to do as it pertains to the initiative?
Well, I've heard some good ideas. One I was inspired by was, as I looked at someone's board, I can't remember what institution it was, they talked about industry coaches. That is, getting companies and corporations and industry to provide more coaches to our campuses, and because these are people who are daily in the experiential world of work, and we need to hear from them more about how we can self-reflect in terms of our student preparedness for what they're doing. So industry coaches, I think, is something that we probably should invest a little bit more in.
Got it. I like it. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr.
Appreciate
James
it.
A. Anderson, Chancellor of Fayetteville State University.
Go Broncos!